The marimba was a tribal African instrument, so how did it end up in every single band room in America? It was a really weird 400-year chain reaction. Send this to someone who plays it. The name marimba is of Bantu origin, meaning many bars. It was brought from Africa to Guatemala through the transatlantic slave trade in the late 1500s. It only had one row of wooden keys, which was often used to play African folk melodies. But way later in 1894, the Hurtado family in Guatemala revolutionized the instrument by adding a second row of sharps and flats, meaning the marimba can now be used to play Western music. They decided to devote their lives to perfecting the instrument, forming a band. In 1908, they traveled to the US for what was supposed to be a short tour, but they ended up becoming a nationwide sensation when they performed there. For example, their cover of the classical piece Pique Dame had sold 500,000 copies. And so they did the rational thing and decided to stay in America since the people there were clearly hooked. Marimba ensembles started popping up everywhere, and a ton of existing bands realized adding a marimba player was an easy way to draw a crowd. Watching this craze was industrialist J.C. Deegan. He already had a semi-monopoly on bells, chimes, and xylophones, and so he saw marimbas as a huge business opportunity since demand was skyrocketing. After all, the old way of importing them from Guatemala was very expensive and often resulted in the instrument being damaged. So he decided to redesign it in a way that could be mass-produced in a factory, replacing hand-carved wooden resonators with metal tubes, among other improvements. A very famous composer at the time named Percy Grainger fell in love with the instrument and decided to write prominent marimba parts in his music. And since almost every band played his music, they were exposed to the marimba, helping it become a respected part in any serious ensemble. And once other composers saw this trend, they naturally started including marimba parts in their own songs, meaning more bands had to buy marimbas. It was a snowball effect that led to the marimba becoming one of the most important percussion instruments nowadays. Follow for more.